Okay, look, this particular presentation has got nothing to do with an article as such, although I am writing one at the moment, and I want to make the point for those critics, and this is what this is about. The next article is about 6 papers written on original archaeology and hominids and how it all spins together into one complete story, and we take bits from all over the place.
Including the newest one that's got everybody in the same cave together. They're
Yeah.
all hanging out.
See, one of the things I'm looking at the moment is the explanation for why 10 hominids all disappeared at once is because humans walked around just killing anything they saw they didn't like.
They're rather fond of that story, aren't they?
Red Deer Caveman, remember that? They did a
Oh yeah,
presentation.
they didn't like the look of him.
That's right, they thought he was ugly, so he speared him. He actually had to visualise him spearing this Red Deer Caveman and then kicking him as he pulled the spear out and walking away because he was ugly. Anyway, what's really interesting is I've started with an article that tells us why humans prevailed is because we killed everyone else because we just didn't like them. And it makes us out to be the most homicidal psychopaths that have ever walked on this planet. Of all the hominids, we're the worst.
It's like we've projected our modern day
Oh,
prejudices into the past.
oh, exactly. And by the way, they say that the warfare that took place with cavemen and people like that was far worse than what we did in World War One and Two. Seriously, it's what they think. Anyway, I'm telling people I'm doing that because at the moment we're getting criticised for walking down this alien path. And I've got original people who said to me that this is all rubbish. And now we've destroyed all the good work we've done with every other piece of research because that piece of research is wrong. Therefore, all the rest must be wrong.
Mind you, we're living in a weird transitional period where you've got the powers that be, little that you can trust them, are finally admitting that there might be aliens.
Yes, the Pentagon have come out and said it's Russians, Chinese, or aliens. It's one of the three, but it isn't us. At least that means now, and of course we all know that's rubbish, but at least that means now in official circles, now aliens are now finally on the list. So for the original people and non-original people who've been attacking us a lot, can I make the point now? There's a 1 in 3 cup chance, according to the Pentagon, we're actually right. And if we're wrong, which I don't believe we are, but if we are wrong, that doesn't mean that all the other stuff we've done with skulls, with rocks and different sites, the Standing Stone site, carry on, it doesn't mean that's all wrong, because one thing is wrong, because I don't think there's a scientist on the planet, past or future, in the whole of their life and all their science did not make a mistake. Perfection doesn't live here, ladies and gentlemen, so for
If
those...
it did, it wouldn't be like how it is, would it?
Oh God, if perfection lived here, we wouldn't be going what we're going through now. So can I make that point? And I want to make the point too that this alien story, which the original people called the Seven Sisters from the Pleiades, is in every dreaming story in Australia. And I don't understand why any original person or non-original person, I'm not being racist, that's for sure, would find it offensive for some people to believe in something. I mean, there are all sorts of religions, all sorts of cults, and a lot of people believe the earth is flat. I don't know if it is or isn't. I'm not interested. It doesn't mean anything to me either way. But I don't spit on the people who do believe it or don't believe it. I just let it go. And basically, I don't make a judgment on a person because they believe something that I don't think is right. I just think, well, they believe that and I don't. It's what all it should come to.
And then you move on, you don't start a war
No,
over it. Well,
you,
some people do.
you do here, but anywhere else, any other planet they wouldn't. Oh, well, maybe not. The point I'm getting at is the reason we went down this path was originally because original people, elders, contacted us and told us about a ceremony. And original representatives met us personally and said there's a ceremony there and asked us to start talking about it. And can I make the point? Every time we spoke about this ceremony before the 21st, we always said, not sure, not convinced, it may not happen. If you go and meditate on that day, we may turn the magic box on, or it might just be good for the planet. It could be one or the other. Now the point is, it turns out that the ceremony did work, and the people who told us that they don't, I can tell you now, there were 350 people with us at that ceremony we did, and not one of us, not one of those people have ever doubted for 1 second, no matter what they've been told, that it wasn't real.
I'd just like to look at the track record. So there are people out there saying carry on's not real.
Mm.
Proven that it is, that that Raymond Johnson was in contact with Dr. Abu Diagazi.
Yeah, for
And she
15,
thought it was
17 years.
legitimate,
Yeah, and they put a
right?
manual
We've been
together.
talking about aliens, ancient aliens, and stuff like that. Now we've got Pentagon talking like they might be. You know,
Yeah,
so
every
with all
time,
these people
yeah.
running around going, "You can't talk about this. You're wrong." Well, as it turns out, we've been right.
So maybe we're right this time. And look, the main point with this, the point I really want to emphasize is there's a greater story there. And I'm going to quote a person, and I rather like this guy, and I know some people have a real aversion towards him, and I don't understand why, because again, I don't judge people the same way others do. I don't get annoyed with anyone. Russell Brand said something about this way back, which I'm going to hang on to. And I think it was a very insightful thing. He said that the announcement or this semi-agreement that aliens exist is the greatest spiritual peace revelation humanity has ever received. Now, I know some people who follow different people, Allah, Buddha, Jesus, whatever. They are very important. I'm not knocking any of that. But this particular information right now is more important than all of that because it changes the game plan, the playing field, and everything we do and everything we should do. It changes everything. It really does, and it should be looked at from that point of view.
Become galactic citizens.
Yes, instead of earthly vandals, which is what we are at the moment, and not even the vandals from way back, which aren't as bad as we are.
Yeah.
And the Visigoths are much worse, are much better than we are.
Remember what else the Vandals were responsible for?
Oh, that's
according
right.
to National Parks and Wildlife.
That's right. They were the ones who put the tunnel at the carry-on glyphs, the 10-metre tunnel. They made that. Now, the point I'm getting at here, ladies and gentlemen, is the next conference we're doing, which is on in a couple of days, in some respects, I believe is the most important one we've done. And I believe it's more important than the one we did that led up to the ceremony. Because, okay, now things have changed markedly, so much so since that day, it's really, you couldn't predict it would have done this. But what we're up to now is something quite interesting. We believe now we can do the second part of this equation about this revelation that Russell Brand spoke about. Not the if, which is if they are here or if they were here. They were here and they still are and they will be again. But the why. To me, that's the most important question in the whole of this story is why. Why did they come? Why would they bother? And we believe in this conference and the ones that follow, we're going to be looking at that. We're going to be speaking by 1 degree of separation with an alien from the other side, and the questions have been written out. And it's quite interesting, Leah was quite shocked by how massive the answers were. So we may not get through all of the 8 questions we've got there, but we will look at them. And the question all the way through is about why. Now, in particular, this time round, we're going to pay a lot of attention to the Schumann resonance. Because everyone knows, well, not everyone knows, but most people know that at 7:32 on the 21st of December last year, it went up 100-fold. And stayed like that for 4 hours at exactly the same time 15 million people were meditating and the elders were turning the rock on. And we have photographs of it actually exploding into light. Now, let's look at that Schumann resonance in some more detail. And there's some amazing stuff that's going on that really does confirm that that ceremony was successful. Now we're going to have Paul on, who's going to talk about the fact that the aliens were written up in the Bible. Or in the beginning, it's there. Oh, Evan's holding up that stuff there. Thank you for the ad. Uncle Alan, he's coming back to talk about old ways, the old original ways, and looking after the land and the way we're going to have to do this again. But the major focus in this one is because we're going to be looking at the new evidence that's come in. And if we get a time, we're going to dabble for once, because we haven't done this for a while, Evan. We've been doing empirical evidence, chemical readouts. We've been doing science after science after science. We're going to do some esoteric stories if we get a chance about the rings. And in particular, I want to talk about the blessings of the Atlantean rings.
Blessing such curse.
You mean stab you in the eye and poke you in the head? Yeah, I want to talk about the Atlantean the actual esoteric things that have happened. So if people are so used to us doing the empirical evidence, you probably won't want to listen to that half hour if we sneak it in. Because I want to talk about the fact the Atlantean rings are really a pure reflection of what we are today. And I've got to tell you, they are, oh, they're a nasty piece of work, all three of them. I mean, one's coming good, one may come good, and one will never come good, but oh, they have so much negativity in them. And I want to talk about things they've done. I'll try and make it as scientific as possible, but of course we can't really do any more than prove that they come from Atlantis. That we can do.
Yeah.
But as for the magic inside, well, we'll just leave that open for you. But we do want to talk about that. But overall, the overarching part of this story is about the fact that our guests and guides and mentors from all over the cosmos are willing to talk to us about the change that's coming. They can't do it directly because that would break the rules. But they can go through an interlocutor, which in this case is Leah. She can pass that on and you can look at her and say she's a liar. And therefore, it's not them standing from a big a UFO mothership announcing in a big loud hailer and everyone says, well, I'm going to believe you because look, it's all there. I can see it in front of you. That they can't do. What they can do is go through another party which gives you the chance to say it's all a load of crap, and some people will. But, you know, all we ever do in our research is pure science. The best we can do. We consult experts around the world and we are in contact with them. We don't know. We know a little bit of everything, but nothing in specific in great detail, but they do. And we go and check with them. And we're very selective in what we take, and we knock back 95% of the stuff that's given to us. And I don't want people to be offended by that because they've often sent it to us. But unless it's undeniably, amazingly different, we just don't take it. Well, we've locked in Leah and we've locked in psychics with us, Soul Reader and Mary, the one we can't give a proper name to. They're part of our research too, and what they give us from our point of view is just as factual. So, come and join us. There's a link somewhere alongside there to our next conference, which is going to be talking about why. And it'll be for sale for the next month and a bit, won't it, Evan?
Yeah, you can watch it as a replay.
Yeah.
And this time we are interviewing Sarah and Austin as well.
Yeah, we're going to interview Sarah and Austin. They were the people who did that film, and I'm still getting reports. And by the way, the newest one that's come in, and we'll talk about more detail, someone is adamant, it's drug runners. We've been called so many things.
I don't know where they come up some of this stuff, to be honest.
Can I remind people that every community around there was locked out, wasn't it? No one could get in. So when the drug runners land their plane somewhere in the desert, in the rough desert there, wherever they go, they can't go to any community, and the only place they can land their plane is at Uluru Airport, and that's closed because it doesn't run at night, but that's the new one. What I find funny, and we're going to continue this story further on, is whenever you put something up that's supposed to be alien or UFO, the first reaction nearly everyone has is, what else could it be?
Swamp gas, weather balloon.
Yeah. You're sort of trained, we're all trained to doubt things that don't fit into what the accepted narrative is. It's like it's conditioned within you. Everyone, and even I do it to an extent. When I used to get the rocks, I'd always try and find ways to explain that it was natural. And in the end, I couldn't do it because it was impossible. But we're still doing it with this. I mean, we've been told right now that it is out there. What you're looking at is real. The problem is, you've got to remember, this was happening in the 1940s. And maybe we have bits of that technology now. I mean, the Chinese got it about 15 years ago, so you can rule them out, mate. They haven't been doing UFOs in the 1940s. Bloody in the 1940s, Chairman Mao was fighting, and they were getting smashed by the Russians. And after that, when Mao took over, there was about 15, 20 years of them just farming. They weren't making UFOs. So, look, that's a lie. It's not the Chinese, and it could be the Russians, but it isn't. And the point is, if it was, and they had technology that's so advanced for so long, they never used it in the Cold War. They never used it when Kennedy was at the Cuban Missile Crisis. They had it, but they didn't use it then. Come on. If they had it, they would have used it in those times. And if we had it, we would have used it too. And the Americans now saying we don't have it. So the reason we're doing this, for those who don't believe it's a good idea, is because we were forced into it by elders.
Oh, and I remember years ago, we were writing for a university press, the University Press of America, and the elders got around us and said, "You'll start talking about the people up there," and we just looked at each other like,
No,
"We don't want to do that.
no.
That's like, yeah, a whole lot of hassle." And then they kind of just laughed at us and, "Yes, you will."
And then in the fourth book, we did write about it, and University Press of America said, we can't publish that, take it out. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't get into this because we wanted to, and we're not talking about UFOs because it was a choice. Our deal was this: we did what we were told to do by the elders and went wherever they wanted to go, us to go. We didn't want to do the UFO story. I told them that at the start when we were told we would. I said, we're not doing it. And here we are doing it. For those critics that are saying, why are we doing it? It's because we don't have a choice. And we promised we would do what they showed us. And if we start picking and choosing, then we don't get shown anymore. And right now, this is what they want us to talk about, so we do. So come and join us. It's only a couple of days away. Doesn't cost that much. And it will be a very strong show. One of our strongest, I believe. I think you'll find that the quality of speakers we've got is very high, and there's a very unified story coming throughout here, and we're all going to be part of it whether we like it or not. So until next time, maybe see you on the weekend.
See you.
I think if I